welcome back to The 3 Show. Per usual, we had another awesome week in the NA3HL, with some games even being considered an upset. And with that, let's take a look at last week's action. In the Central, the Woodsmen have solidified themselves as a second-place team in the division after a 2-game sweep over the Grizzlies, both games won in regulation. Watching Friday night's game was exciting as Rochester opened things up, scoring the first 2 goals of the contest, followed by the Woodsmen scoring the next 5 goals, Nolan Mix netting 2 of his own. Rochester would attempt a comeback but were only able to find the back of the net once more as the Game 1 ended with a final score of 5-3. Wisconsin would absolutely dominate Game 2 as Maxim Lazo tallied a hat trick during the team's 5-1 win, earning himself the 3rd star of the week. In the East, the Sea Captains stung the Buzz during Game 1 of the series, serving the first-place team in the division their 3rd loss of the season, all 3 losses coming at the hands of Norwich. Star of the week Jake Wilkerson was the hero of the game, scoring the game-tying goal, game-winning goal, and assisting on the insurance goal during his squad's comeback victory. The Buzz came out with vengeance during Game 2, scoring the first 4 goals during their eventual 4-1 victory. Binghamton's second leading scorer, Jason DiMatteo, was on fire, scoring 2 goals while also dishing out an assist on the game winner. In the Frontier, the Irish and Americans also split their series, with Great Falls coming away victorious on Friday night. After being down 2-1 to Butte entering the 3rd period, the Americans came out hot during the final frame, scoring 3 unanswered goals, 2 coming from second star of the week, Ty Obi. Heading into Game 2, Butte knew they had something to prove and battled hard through the entire 60 minutes of the back-and-forth contest. Heading into the final 20 minutes of the game, things were all tied up at 3 apiece, but star of the week Logan Weber scored the first goal of the 3rd period, his 2nd of the game, to give Butte the lead. The last minute of the game was absolutely thrilling as Easton Langamo scored another goal for the Irish, but Great Falls would score their 4th goal to make it a 1-goal game with 20 seconds left and ultimately weren't unable to tie things up. Down in the South, the Capitals had themselves a weekend as they battled the Junior Oilers in a 3-game set in Oklahoma, picking up 6 points towards the standings. Star of the week and the series was, without a doubt, netminder Robert Pogosian, who stood tall between the pipes for 2 out of 3 games for Atlanta. Pogosian was faced with a total of 70 shots, making 68 saves, only allowing 1 goal per game, bringing his weekend numbers to a .791 save percentage and a goals against average of 1. Meanwhile, on offense, Aldiar Eirik held things down with a total of 3 goals and 1 assist, including the game winner on Friday. In the West, 3rd star of the week Dylan Posh and the Minnesota Moose split their weekend series, giving Granite City a run for their money before taking down Mason City. Despite coming up short by a final score of 4-2 against Granite City, the last goal being an empty netter, the Moose netminder was able to turn away 45 of 48 shots he was faced with. During Saturday's victory against Mason City, Posh had his most difficult game to date as he was faced with a whopping 58 shots on goal, his highest total so far this season. After turning away all but 3 shots, Dylan had an impressive save percentage of .948. Head coach Todd Sandin was thrilled with the squad's performance and is looking forward to the weekend ahead. With today being November 1st, the NCAA Division III season is officially underway. We want to wish all of our NA3HL alumni good luck in their college season, and with that, let's take a look at this week's action. The Woodsmen and Junior Blues will face off for the 2nd time this season after splitting their first series with Wisconsin winning in regulation and St. Louis winning in a shootout. Both teams are coming off great weekends, riding 3- and 4-game winning streaks as they both were represented in this week's Star of the Week. When looking at special teams within the Central, Wisconsin and St. Louis have been clicking on the power play, with the Woodsmen scoring 13 goals on the man advantage, while the Junior Blues have scored 12 of their own. After playing one another last Wednesday, the Mountain Kings and Nordiques will face off yet again, this time up in Lewiston, Maine at the Colisée. When looking at last week's matchup, the game was definitely a nail-biter, with teams going back and forth scoring as New Hampshire's Jacob Landry scored his 2nd goal of the game, aka the game winner, halfway through the final frame. With a crucial 2 points on the line, the Mountain Kings could possibly jump the Generals in the standings, giving them 19 points to be tied for 2nd place with Norwich. The Bighorns will face off with the Wild again, this time at Steed Arena for their 2nd 2-game set of the season. Flipping back to a few weeks ago, Helena had 2 of their closest games of the season, not including their 1 loss, as both games with Gillette were 1-goal contests. With Gillette heading into the series with a 7-3 record in their last 10 games, Coach Bromberg and his squad are ready to challenge the defending Fraser Cup champions and will be for sure a great series to tune into this weekend. The Drillers are finally back in action after their 2-week hiatus. Despite only playing 10 games so far this year, Louisiana still remains in 2nd place in the South with 19 points in the standings, not to mention 5 less games played than the third-place team. Head coach Chris Francis hopes to pick up right where he left off and continue to be a force to be reckoned with in the division as they take on the El Paso Rhinos for a 3-game set at home. It's worth noting that the Rhinos have won their last 2 games and are hoping to turn the page and continue building off their victories against the Roadrunners. Finishing things off, the team of the West Division continues to be Granite City. Will the Lumberjacks remain undefeated as they take on Alexandria, or will the Blizzards storm the Lumberjacks on home ice? The rivalry between these 2 teams is unmatched, and fans are always in for a treat when the Blizzard come to town. So far, these organizations have faced off twice this season, including a 5-4 thriller on opening night for both teams, followed by a 6-3 victory for the Jacks earlier this month. As always, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The 3 Show. Be sure to follow along all of this weekend's action on our website and watch all of the games live on NATV.